This is the 5 tech things you should know about. It's brought to you by Citrix and GoToAssist Express. Go over to gotoassist.com/podcast for a 30-day free trial. Lion is here, but Microsoft is still king of the pile. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the 5 tech things you should know about for all you weekend warriors in tech that don't want too much information overload. Let's get into your 5 tech things that you should know about for this week. Rawr, Lion is here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now here, the 10.7 Lion, whatever. The newest version of the operating system for Apple has hit the shelves yesterday in download form only. You cannot go to the Apple Store. You cannot say, hey, I want a copy of Lion on disk. They'll say, no, we don't have it. They will have a copy on USB drive in a couple months, but for now, no, you can't get it. You got to go to the online store and actually use the store, download it, which is like 3.7 gigabytes, and then run it. If you are running Leopard but not Snow Leopard, you have to upgrade to Snow Leopard first, which is $39, then upgrade to Lion, which is another $30. So, you know, sorry about that. For those of you who are also watching Apple Store, you know that the MacBook Air's got an upgrade to i5 processors. The Mac Mini's got an upgrade to i5 and i7 processors. But then the Mac Mini also lost the optical drive. No DVD drive, although you can purchase an external DVD drive if you decide that you still want some sort of optical drive into the Mac Mini. With an i7 processor, I could see that as a very functional machine, taking it out on the road, using it for mixing videos like I do and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good functionality to the Mac Mini. But the prices, still $699, $999. And MacBook Air is $999. They're getting rid of the MacBook Pros, so no more plastic cases, no more white cases, and MacBook Air is going to be the low-end notebook on there. Everybody's got a Thunderbolt port now, which a lot of people are saying, you know, I always thought that Thunderbolt was going to be one of those things that you have to really wish you had. Oh, I got to pay $2,500 for that Thunderbolt port. Everybody's got 10 gigabits per second. I love it. So be able to cross time machines. You'll be able to download through your iMac and your MacBook Pro and your Mac Mini and at top speed. So I like the idea. What do you think? Do you think that this would sway your decision to actually start buying Mac products if you're not a Mac user? Let me know. geekazine@gmail.com or Twitter me @geekazine. Google has always had a hand in trying to help you figure out which websites are bad, which websites have malware, especially if your website has malware. I've seen many websites where you have an ad on it, and that ad goes to malware, and Google knows about it. You get that big old red screen that comes up. Well, Google has taken it one step further. Now, all you have to do is go to Google's webpage. You type in any term, and it'll actually come up with a little yellow bar. It says, hey, your computer might be infected with a specific type of malware. The malware that they're looking for is what's called a proxy pass-through malware. So, like, for instance, if I'm searching on something like, let's say, apples, instead of going from point A to point B, it tries to pass you through a third point so it can get information from you. So they can pad different terms, might get some phishing information from you, any type of things like that. So basically what Google is trying to do is it's trying to say, hey, you've got a third party looking at your information and you need to update your virus software, because it's usually a piece of software or a small little code redirect on your computer that makes that fix. So then it takes you to a link that suggests where you should go. The only problem with this is it's not as bold as the other images that Google has. So when I go to the page, I'm just looking at this yellow thing going, it's not really enticing me to say, hey, I might want to do something with my antivirus. And if I'm not enticed to do something with my antivirus, the average user is not going to be enticed to do something with the antivirus. They're just going to think it's another ad. And that's what these look like, another ad. All right, we're going to talk about a little bit more about Google Plus. We're going to talk a little bit about Google Hangouts because Google really wants celebrities to come on. They just started a verification system for Google Plusers that have a higher profile than you or me. Just like the same verifications that you would see on Twitter, you'd see that little blue badge up on the top corner. That's what they're doing with Google Plus. People like Felicia Day, like William Shatner, who just happened to be nixed out of Google Plus and then realized, hey, that was actually William Shatner. Let's bring him back in. Michael Dell. Now, Michael Dell has been doing a lot of Hangouts lately, speaking of which. And I'm finding that there's a lot of usefulness for different celebrities to get into these things, these Google Hangouts, because then they find a little bit more about what the people are talking about. They get to interact with the people, which sometimes they might not be able to do. Michael Dell has just been bringing up conversations. Yesterday, he was in the gym and decided to do a Google Hangout while he was on the treadmill. And he was asking everybody, who are you? What do you do? What do you like? Do you use Dells? What do we need to do? How do we need to interact a little bit more? It's a feel-good measure, and I think a lot of celebrities are going to find that this Google Hangout is going to be a pretty cool thing. Of course, it also means that if you're not right there at that point in time to get into the Google Hangout, you're basically going to be watching from the sidelines saying, oh, I wish I could have gotten Google Hangout. I'm trying again. Kind of like, when you get the contest, the radio contest, you dial it up. Oh, got a busy signal. Dial it up. Oh, got a busy signal. Dial it up. Got a busy. I have a feeling we're going to see that with Google Hangout as much as we're going to see back then with the days. So if you've been lucky enough to get into one of these Hangouts and talk to some of these celebrities, let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. And now, of course, it's the 5 things that I learned this week. Let's find out what they are, and it's brought to you by Stitcher. Go over to stitcher.com/geek. Download the mobile version for your podcasts, for your iPhone, your Android, your BlackBerry, your Palm, or now called WebOS. And you could win yourself $100. Just go over to stitcher.com/geek. Number 5, if you're giving an interview to Paris Hilton, never mention the name Kim Kardashian. That is, unless you're saying, if Kim Kardashian was tossed under a bus, how would you feel? Number 4, the next generation of knockoffs in China? Apple stores. Would look blue polo shirts and all. Not one item sanctioned by Apple. Maybe it's a conquest to do bigger and better. The next knockoff? Could be the United States. Maybe we are in China. I don't know. Number 3, the creator of Wheel of Fortune, or the wheel in Wheel of Fortune, passes away. Ed Flesh. He was 79. He also created items for Jeopardy and Press Your Luck. You know, the show with the whammy. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Number 2, Comic-Con is happening in San Diego this weekend. That means thousands will descend on California in bat suits and full latex body gear, unlike the ones in front of Mann's Chinese Theater in LA, and they won't get kicked out either. And then finally, a woman in Colorado decided to fight back with TSA agents. The woman did not want to go through the full body scanner because of radiation concerns. When surrounded by TSA agents, she grabbed a female agent's breast, or more to the point, the nipple, and did what was referred to as a titty twister. Prosecutors decided not to charge her on those felony charges, but she can still get a misdemeanor. Mark one up for humanity. And those are the 5 things that I learned this week. In this day and age, especially with Borders bookstores closing, that's about 10,000 employees now looking for jobs, why not go up on Monster.com? Monster.com just revamped their website. And they created a new section called Power Search. What Power Search does is it's a new way to locate where you need to be for your job, what you need to do for your job. It's so you can get a better idea. If I'm an IT administrator, will I have a better chance of getting a job here in Madison, Wisconsin, or out in New York City, or down in Houston, Texas? Where do I need to go to be what I love to do, where my passions go? Then you can make a decision on where you really need to locate your searches with and try and become part of that community. I know a lot of people that have done some travel. A friend of mine last year went down to Alabama for a job, and she's happy there now. She was out of work for 2 years. So a program like this Monster and the Power Search, which is not a new search for different types of job search engines, it is still something that is very useful. So I'm really glad that Monster has made some upgrades here. I haven't used Monster in a while. Maybe I'll do a little bit of searching around Monster and see how Monster takes care of your job resume. Of course, the 5 tech things you should know about is now brought to you by Citrix and GoToAssist Express. You know, I've used GoToAssist Express for years, where I could actually support somebody right from the Geek Bar right here. All they have to do is call me and say, hey, I'm having a problem with my computer. I say, can you access the internet? Yes. Okay, go to this webpage, put it in a 9-digit number I'm going to give you right now, and then I access their machine. They can access my machine. I can control their machine. They could control my machine. I could do up to 8 people at once. And it's so easy. Anybody can use it. So if you're not even an IT person, if mom's just calling you and say, hey, where's that control panel thing? You can connect up to GoToAssist Express and show her where the control panel is. You can even set it up for unattended. So you go over to mom's house and you put in that 9-digit number, and then you check a little box saying you never have to ask me again for that 9-digit number. You go back to your home, and when mom calls, all you have to do is say, okay, I fixed your computer. Isn't that cool? The prices are great, but I'm going to give you a 30-day free trial. Go over to GoToAssist.com/podcast. GoToAssist.com/podcast. Put that into your IT toolbox for 30 days and see what the power of GoToAssist Express is all about. All right, even though Apple has just come out with a lot of little nice shiny things like Mac Minis and OS X Lions, you know, kittens and stuff like that, Microsoft is still on the top of the heap. They attest it to not just because of Windows 7, because that's technically plateauing, but also because of Xbox 360 sales from the PS3 mess that happened over there. And then, of course, things like Windows Azure and Office 2010. So they've got their hands in so many different areas that they're actually doing pretty well. The last quarter showed in a plus, not where they really wanted to be, but in a positive number nonetheless. So their stockholders can stay happy. Now, it's just like that old analogy that I've talked about for the last few weeks. When you have a bar that's been there for years, and you have another bar that shows up and just opens up, you gotta keep the people coming to your bar. So you step it up, you up the ante a little bit, and you do something that makes people still want to come to your bar and not that other place. That's what Microsoft needs to focus on. They need to focus on that new shiny thing. The one advantage that Microsoft does have right now is the fact that a lot of their items you can get for under $500 or under. And in fact, whereas this MacBook Pro, the lowest end MacBook Pro is $1,000, or MacBook Air is $1,000. Whereas our laptop, I can get a nice laptop for my mom for $500 or less in some cases. Can't get that too much. You can give them an iPad, but does mom really not want that keyboard, or will she start balking at the fact that she's got to touch everything on the screen? There may be a point where that $500 laptop will be pushed to the wayside, and everybody will love tablets, and they'll embrace Apple over Microsoft. But right now, Microsoft has too many hands in too many pots. For instance, a business that's been running on Microsoft for years is not going to switch over to another operating system overnight. They've got servers that are Microsoft. They've got workstations that are Microsoft. Of course, they'll have some iPads and some iPhones into the mix, but for the most part, we're still in a Microsoft world. So we got some ways to go if of course somebody like Apple wants to topple over something like Microsoft. But then the reality is, if Apple's always saying that they're a quality piece, do they really want to topple over something that's just quantity? I don't know. And is Microsoft just quantity, or is there quality involved? Even on my MacBook Pro, I use both Mac and Windows, and I would say Windows 70% of the time to Mac 30% of the time. I don't know. I still live in a Windows world, and I know there's a lot of other people that live in Windows worlds. So we'll see what happens, but for now, Microsoft is making some good gains, basically because they've spread themselves across a great amount of platforms. And of course, that's the 5 tech things you should know about. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Did you like what you saw? Did you not like what you saw? Did you like what you heard? Did you not like what you hear? Let me know. Go over to iTunes. Go over to whatever aggregator you're listening to. Give it the stars. Let me know. Of course, you can Twitter me over at Geekazine or email geekazine@gmail.com. For the 5 tech things you should know about, my name is Jeffrey Powers. We will see you here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.